Hi, my name is Jeffrey Forgang. I'm curator at the Higgins Armory Museum in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I would like to welcome you to this exhibition of arms and armor from the age of Shakespeare here at the Folger Shakespeare Library. The streets of London could be extremely dangerous in Shakespeare's day. It was the fashion for a young gentleman to carry a sword and a dagger when he went out from the house in the morning. And these fellows were walking around the streets of the city, armed, very full of themselves, sometimes a little bit tipsy, and fights would break out in the streets. It was really important, if you were carrying a rapier, that you knew how to use it. And the world that is evoked in Romeo and Juliet, this world of brawling, of street fights, of duels, is very much the kind of thing that was on the minds of Londoners in the 1590s when the play first came out. It was really a very hot debate. People were, above all, afraid that Italian influences were leading to a rash of violence and dueling in the streets. The newfangled Italian rapier was the weapon of choice of the stylish young gentleman, and he would go to Italian fencing masters to learn how to use it in the Italian style. And the style was extremely deadly. It played for keeps, and there was a sense that it was having a bad influence on English culture. So Romeo and Juliet very much evokes that kind of world, and it's very much evoked in the books of the period too. For example, you can see here a translation of an Italian fencing manual that was published in English during the 1590s, about contemporary with Shakespeare's play. There are a number of these texts that get published to teach young English gentlemen the latest fashions of Italian rapier play. Othello is set against the background of conflict over control over the Mediterranean between the Western European powers, the Christian states of Western Europe, and the Ottoman Empire, whose power has been on the rise over the course of the 1500s. And the whole play revolves around the life and the events in the garrison of the Venetians, the great Western Sea Empire, who are leading in the forefront of this fight against the Ottomans. And in fact, we have here an artifact that comes from that very conflict. This is a boarding sword, which was probably shipped aboard the Venetian fleet. It's relatively short, which allows it to be used between decks. It's got a flat profile, so that it can be stowed very conveniently in a sea chest. The big teeth that you see are probably designed for chopping the cables of enemy ships. So this is a highly specialized implement, essentially a kind of precursor for the more recent cutlass of the navies. A large part of the story of Othello is about the world of the professional army, the world of the garrison and the professional military as a world apart from civilian life. And this is very much an important story evolving in Shakespeare's day. Armies are getting larger, and the emphasis is moving away from the mounted, armored cavalrymen of the Middle Ages, the knight, and much more toward infantrymen, and above all, infantrymen wielding gunpowder weapons. Muskets are becoming increasingly powerful and effective during the latter part of the 1500s, and this example you can see here from the 1600s is characteristic of the kind of weapon that was being carried by the majority of soldiers by the latter part of Shakespeare's life, and deployed in large numbers by infantrymen hurling lead against the opponents on the field. These increasingly were determining the outcome of battle. And in order to manipulate them effectively, you needed to have well-trained and well-commanded troops. So books like this Manual of Drill were being published during Shakespeare's lifetime to teach commanders how to train their men in the latest methods of warfare.